This is the Unexpected Podcast. Well,
Hello.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, 2025.
Woot, woot. Have you gotten used to writing 2025 yet?
I wrote it once
Okay.
so far on a piece of paper.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It takes a little while. What do you guys think? Does it take you a little while to get used to writing 2024 or typing it, whatever the case may be? Well, it's always great to start a new year, start off fresh. I think it gives us a time to reset.
Yep.
And we didn't have a podcast last week. We took the week off, and it was good because I think we needed to rest and
Do a
just
little
have
reset.
family time and reset. Woot, woot.
Man, we got to reset.
For sure. For sure. And resets are always a good thing. But I'm going to throw out a topic today. Lee is not privy to this. And really, it's just kind of a spontaneous idea. I don't have any notes, research, or anything like that. But I want to bring up something that, or a reaction that I had to an email I received today.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You're going to be calling people out.
Makes it sound like, like it's something really ominous or
is it
serious.
bad?
It's not. It's not a big deal. It was, but I'll tell you what it was. And I won't say the name of the store, although you'll probably figure it out. But a particular store that I frequent from time to time, you may as well, gives you their cash to go back into the store and spend whenever, you've made a certain amount of purchases.
Yeah.
Then you take it back in there and you get something for that amount of money. And it's, it's a good thing. It's a good little reward system. But I got an email today, which was, I mean, to me, on the one hand, it was interesting because I love statistics and I like knowing what happened.
On the one hand.
You have other fingers.
on the other hand,
Funny.
you have other
Ba-dum,
fingers.
bump. Shh.
Yeah.
That's old Stephen Wright joke. On the other hand,
Have
you
five
have
more fingers.
different fingers or five more.
Five
It all
fingers.
works.
Yeah,
Okay. Getting back to the email. On the one hand, I do like, statistics. I like, year-end kind of analysis of anything.
Yeah.
But so it was interesting, though, because, it's one of those things where, because they have my email, they know what I spent that year and they know how much cash I earned, right? So, but what was really striking about it was that they said, congratulations, you're in the top such and such percentage of people who earned this cash. Now, that's what seems so odd to me. It's like, congratulations. It's like, I didn't do anything to deserve congratulations.
Right.
And I understand their tactic. They're saying, way to go. It's kind of like the reward system, like, good job, buddy.
Everybody gets a trophy.
Well, okay, I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to bring it
Okay.
around to that in a
All right.
second. But it's like, okay, it's like, good job. And I get the what they're doing. It's like, oh, you spent money with us. Good job. Come spend some more.
Yeah, that's what that is.
So I
That's
understand
marketing.
I do get it. But it's also kind of odd that we're at the place in society where we are congratulating people for really something that doesn't deserve congratulations.
Right.
Another example, it made me
It's
think.
demeaning to congratulatory things.
Exactly. It really is. It is. It takes away from things that are truly, things that someone has truly earned and that should be
Celebrated.
rewarded.
Something that should be celebrated.
Yeah, exactly. And it made me think of another example, and you've probably seen this. I don't know if they do it anymore. I haven't seen it for a while, but if you're following people on certain social media platforms, and maybe you like a big, someone who has a big following, and you comment on, one of their posts, you might be told, congratulations, you earned a badge for being one of the top contributors to the commentary on this person's page.
Yeah.
Again, how
Instant gratification.
silly. I mean, how silly to say, to give someone a badge. And again, it's okay. It's a reward system to get you to use that platform more. So
Right.
I understand where they're coming from. Okay. So it's interesting that you mentioned it being like, let's give everybody a trophy.
Yeah.
But in some sense, it's almost worse. It's like, at least
Yeah.
when everybody's getting a trophy, like, I didn't really earn this and we're just all getting it. But yeah, it's also comparable in a way too. But do you think that's a strange thing in our society?
I think
right
it
now?
is because everybody's want instant gratification, and if we can get the endorphins to flow in our brain and the what's the other part that's the
Serotonin. Okay.
get it to react in our brain to where it says, "Oh, look, I'm special."
Yeah.
And
right.
so
Right.
everything is built around making everyone feel special. You're special. Used to, when somebody would say you're special, it meant something else.
Yeah.
And that, and it was very derogatory. Now everybody is looking for that instant high of I'm wanted, I'm needed, I have got to have this instant gratification. And they love me. They really love me.
This big corporation really loves me.
Right.
You know?
They love me. They really love me. It was an old movie.
Actually, it was Sally Field
Sally
at
Field.
the Oscars when she
Yes.
first won one for, I think it was the movie Norma Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, you like me. You really
You
like me. Yeah.
And,
kind of a famous speech.
Yeah, but everybody kind of wants that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm no exception.
Well, yeah,
You know?
and there's nothing wrong with wanting that moment if you've really done something to earn it. It's like you've worked towards a goal, like a real goal where you've put in sweat, you've put in time,
Tears and blood.
Yeah, and sacrificed in order to reach a certain goal, then it's great to be congratulated.
Absolutely.
For something that you've actually achieved.
Yeah. Getting an attaboy for doing nothing is really demeaning to those who really did strive. When I was teaching school, we were talking, and I think I'd read it or something, and everybody was upset. There were some people that were upset that they failed, and then the grading system was a little different or something. I can't remember what it exactly was, but I did the scenario of, all right, so what we'll do, we'll take everybody's grade and we'll average it out, and that's the grade that everybody gets.
Yep.
And if you got an A and your neighbor got an F, we're going to average those two together, and everybody gets the grade that I come up with.
Right.
That's not fair.
No.
Because some of them put the time in to study. Some of them put the time in to go the extra mile. And others were too busy playing video games to study for the test. And, I think of the kingdom of God. How the virgins and the wicks and the 10 virgins, and they came out and they had been taking care of their lamps, and they had enough oil, but then the other, was it 10? The other 10?
There were 5, I think.
5
didn't, they weren't faithful to keep
the
their
first
oil
5,
filled.
Yes, and they missed the coming of the king, was it? Yeah, it was the king, right? And how many of us are doing the work and we feel like we're getting nowhere? I think this can be an encouraging moment to know that not everybody's going to get that trophy in the end.
Yeah.
Because they didn't put the time in.
Yeah.
And
and
they got deep real quick, but I mean,
well,
it's the truth. It's not just in a biblical sense or a spiritual sense. It's in every day too. You put the time in, and everything will eventually work out, maybe for a short season, and then you go back to working hard again. And then, have you noticed the roller coaster in that in life? Sometimes it's like you work really hard, you meet the challenge, and then you get the gratification of that, and then you start all over, and you go for another challenge, and you're going for it, and then you reach that goal, and then that one's over, and then you keep. Yeah. It's perpetual.
It is, and there's no coasting in life.
No.
I think some people, especially when you're young, there can be this misconception that I'm going to get to a certain point in life and then I can coast. If I had this amount of money, then I could coast. And that's not true. You know, you're never going to just be able to coast.
Even people with money have to think about, all right, who's managing my money?
I mean, they have to think more about it
Yeah.
than someone who doesn't have as much.
Right.
You know, so that's the reality. But, you know, going back to what you were saying about, you know, the scenario that you raised with your students, et cetera,
Mm-hmm.
it just makes me think of those two words that people don't like sometimes, and that is personal responsibility.
Oh, I was going to say shut up. But
I don't like those. I don't like hearing those words.
personal responsibility. Yeah, nobody likes personal responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say nobody likes it, but
okay, I generalized.
yeah, there are times we don't like it, and people don't want to step up and live in it and walk in it. But yeah, so there's some strange things I think that happen in our culture. You know, there are changes, and historically there have always been changes in culture.
Right.
Technology changes, and there are cultural changes. They're inevitable. But I don't think that we should just sit back and say, well, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's always good to question, is this good for our culture? Is this bad? How should I react to this? How should I
think you should approach everything. Luke, our oldest son, Luke,
Mm-hmm.
I think he approaches everything with a question mark in his head.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good trait to have. Now,
Right.
it can be overdone
Sure.
at times, and over questioning and overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about him individually. I'm talking about in
Just
general.
yeah.
But approach everything with a question mark in your mind. Where, who, what, where, when, why, and how. And why is this working like that? You know, and why are we struggling? Why are we successful?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where is this information coming from? We should vet a lot of things that we allow in our lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, that it's a whole topic in and of itself, but you mentioned the word information, and that's something we have to constantly question.
Oh, man.
Is this information
Viable.
Yes. Is it true? Is it beneficial?
Yeah.
We're always having to live with that question mark.
Because I've seen so much. Okay, so I think we're opening a can of worms for 2025, which is fine. The internet is not all true. Social media is not all true.
I mean, Abraham Lincoln himself said, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet."
Exactly.
Have you all seen that meme?
Exactly.
Kind of an ironic and funny meme.
Well, speaking of Abraham Lincoln, they had the muckrakers.
Mm-hmm.
Muckrakers were people who went around and just stirred up muck.
Mm-hmm. During the Civil War
during
time.
the Civil War times for like just to create propaganda. And I think we're seeing the muckrakers go awry in this society now, to where people are always stirring something up, and it may not be very important, but they think it is the most important thing in the whole world, and they go around and create panic and dismay and unrest.
Or they're simply doing something to get attention, to build a platform, to be an influencer.
Yeah.
And so you always have to question what's behind the agenda. Why are they saying what they're saying?
Why, and that's a good question to ask. Why are we doing a podcast? Why are we sitting here talking? Well, one reason, I believe, is that we want to give information about life, that from our perspective, of course, and it's not factual all the time, because we could get our facts wrong. We could mess it up.
Well, I think that one idea is to be thought-provoking. And of course, we always want to hear what you guys out there think too.
Right.
Sometimes we're just, which that's the whole premise of the podcast, that we carry on simple conversations about everything from life experiences, the current culture, God, and everything in between.
That's right.
From our old intro.
Right.
But yeah, I thought we just started a podcast because we owned microphones.
That's part of it.
And a camera.
And the camera. That's, that's a big part of it is, you own the equipment. You might as well use it.
Well, I mean, that's true. But we like coming to you guys each week. And
we do enjoy maybe, maybe we say something that sparks an interest in you that will change your life and help you to become a better person, or help you realize, hey, man, Amy and Lee need to be better people. Let me make this comment.
Yeah, go for it. We can handle it.
Yeah. Oh, we can handle it now. We've been.
I'm a little more thick-skinned than I used to be.
Ah, me too.
And on that note, I was thinking of something the other day.
Yep.
Kind of changing the subject, but I've not always been good about receiving criticism, constructive criticism, or however it comes. But one thing that I think I've noticed in the last few years is there have been times when I was criticized and it may have hurt, and it may have even come from a place that was accusatory, but by God's grace, I was able to take that and look and examine and say, okay, maybe that's true, and make some improvements. Yeah. I remember somebody making fun of the way I said a particular word. I won't even say it because I had grown up with that's just the way it was pronounced in my house. And so somebody kind of like laughed and they're like repeated the way I said it, and I was like, and I was kind of embarrassed. I was like, I never realized that. But guess what? I never said that word that way again. That was free advice. Yeah. So criticism can really be free advice. I mean, the best thing that we can do when our critics come against us is ask ourselves, well,
are they right?
They wouldn't bring it up if there wasn't something, some point to it, maybe. I mean, not always, but you got to ask yourself. And so I don't know, I've gotten to where I can take that as a cue to possibly improve things. And it really has worked in some areas. And not do it all the time. Stick to your guns sometimes. Oh, absolutely.
But so everybody gets a trophy. That mindset. We learn how to change in life, but we don't always understand how to change. We need to change, but we don't always understand how to change. And everybody gets a trophy. It has to change. Yeah, and I think I think society doesn't know how to change right now. We've got a little bit of an issue with living for the moment and not thinking about the actual consequences of our actions. So everybody gets a trophy just makes people who are mediocre never reach excellence.
Well, and it's an encouragement to be mediocre. And that's where we are as a culture right now. There's not really a lot of push in most cases, in most schools, in most homes. There's not a big push, to excel in a lot of areas. And, and it's hard on parents because parents are not just having to encourage their kids to be a certain way. They're fighting the culture that their kids are surrounded by.
Right.
So it's a huge, huge battle. But if you look at families who kind of stick to their guns, there's no guaranteed formulas for your child's success. We know that. But you do see it in, even culturally, you see it in, certain cultures who have different standards. Well, those children excel in different ways than those cultures that don't have as much of a encouragement to succeed. And another thing, it goes back to being cultural. We've made it cool. And again, you have young people who are like, they want to grow up. They want to be a YouTuber or they want to be an influencer. And here we are, we sound hypocritical because we're on YouTube. But guess what? We also have real jobs. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with people who make a living doing something legitimate on those platforms. But that's not what everybody needs to be doing. We don't need everybody trying to be that.
One of the things that I heard when I taught high school, a lot. One thing I heard a lot was, I want to be a game developer. I want to work in video games. Right. I want to develop video games. Well, not everybody is going to be doing video games. But I heard a ton of people that were like, I'm going to do video games. Right.
Back when I was younger, I remember it was marine biology. I want to be a marine biologist. Well, the world only needs so many marine biologists.
Yeah.
You know,
You need to find out what your real passion is. And, you know, everybody gets a trophy has led to everybody gets the same job. And that is not really good at all. We don't have that. First of all, we don't have the capacity, nor do we have the culture to support that.
Yeah. Right.
You know, everybody.
I mean, we still need people doing other things.
We need people in the trades. We need people who know how to serve, who know how to be a police officer, who know how to be a carpenter, who know how to go out and build a house or fix a car or
other professions, where, you know, and we need good accountants. Or although I know AI's taken over a lot of things, and that's another topic, but we still need good people in those arenas.
Absolutely.
I mean, if I go to the doctor or the dentist, or, you know, I want somebody who has legitimately been trained.
I don't want a doctor who should have been a mechanic.
True. Yeah. Or vice versa. Yeah.
I don't want a mechanic that should have been a doctor.
Right. And that's kind of my story. You know, I went to college and had a scholarship in biotechnology, and I was going to use that to get to medical school. And those were my strengths. I was strong in the sciences, but I also know I wouldn't have been a good doctor. I had no desire for that.
Yeah.
I liked the science of it, but treating people, treating patients, you know, that wasn't something that, you know, I mean, you know, every time our children had a mishap, except the one time you weren't around and I had to do some doctoring. But most of the time you were around and you took care of the injuries and the scrapes and all that good stuff.
You grew up in the country, you got to.
Yeah. So you've just got to find your niche. What's your place where you can flourish?
And not everybody needs the same trophy. You need the trophy that is meant for you. I think that's a good way to end it.
That's a good.
You need the trophy that is meant for you.
I like it. I think we'll end on that note.
I like that.
We just encourage you guys, and we really hope that you have a wonderful 2025. It's going to be interesting to see what this year holds. And we just ask that you continue to like and subscribe and just leave comments. We want to hear from you all and know how you all are doing.
Yeah, share our videos.
Yeah.
Somebody you may like it. I don't know.
Maybe so. All right. On that note, Lee, you don't get a trophy today.
Oh.
Bummer. All right, guys. We will see you on the next episode.
See you guys.
Don't forget to like this video and please subscribe to our channel. Drop your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you prefer audio podcasts, please follow us on your favorite streaming platform.